What's up, and welcome to the No Bullshit Manifestation Show. I'm your host, Kat Kozad, manifestation expert, money mindset and fulfillment coach, and multiple six-figure entrepreneur. Come sit with me while I spill the real tea on what it's like to practice using intentional manifestation, demystify all of the woo-woo and confusing bullshit that comes along with creating the life of your dreams, and give you a realistic view of what it's like to be on a personal, spiritual, and professional growth journey. The goal of this podcast is to support and guide you towards manifesting all of your dreams, shed light on the things that people are too scared to talk about, and encourage you to become the person who gets to have it all, be it all, and do it all. I am so happy you are here. Let's fucking do this thing. Do you want to become the woman who gets to have all of her desires, be the highest version of herself, and do all of the things that light her the fuck up? If yes, you're in the perfect place, because in today's podcast episode, I'm going to be giving you a very practical guide and overview of what it takes to become that version of yourself so that this year you can make that your reality. What's up, and welcome back to the No Bullshit Manifestation Show. I'm your host, Kat Kozad. And if you listen to the podcast, you will know that over the past 3 years, I have been able to radically transform my life with the power of intentional manifestation. Literally going from $70,000 in debt, working paycheck to paycheck, 60 plus hours a week in a job that I absolutely hated, to now living my dream life here in New York City, having complete time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom, and truly like living a life that is greater than anything that I once dreamed was possible for myself. And over the past 3 years, by choosing to go on this intentional manifestation journey, I can honestly and proudly say that I have become the woman who gets to have it all, be it all, and do it all, because I have put in the mental, emotional, and energetic work that it takes to not only attract and manifest all of that, to welcome it all in, but also to sustain it. Because it's one thing to be able to manifest those things into your life, but it's another thing to manifest them in and then be able to fully sustain them, because you've created that amount of safety, space, and ability inside of yourself to have that be your reality. So in this podcast episode, I'm going to be giving you the top 5 pieces of the puzzle that you can plug into place in your life that have allowed me to do this, so that you can start to bit by bit and piece by piece make your dreams a reality as well through intentional manifestation. So first and foremost, what this takes is a lot of subconscious rewiring. So if you've listened to the No Bullshit Manifestation Show, or if you have looked up different manifestation resources in the past, you've probably heard about subconscious reprogramming. And this is so important because 95% of the human brain is made up by the subconscious mind. And typically, the subconscious mind is formed between ages 0 to 7 by our parents, primary caregivers, friends, teachers, media, society, whatnot. And in addition to that, on a day-to-day basis, we think 70 to 80,000 thoughts, and 90% of those thoughts are the same things that we were thinking about from the day before. So if it has ever felt challenging for you to create a new reality, to manifest the things that you desire into your life, this is why. Because your subconscious mind is running the show, whether you are aware of it or not. And your subconscious mind is holding on to all of the beliefs, the behaviors, the emotions, the like baseline of how you function in your day-to-day life. And through that, that is the energy that is being emitted out into the universe, and by the universal law of attraction, being attracted back into your life in the form of like vibrational things, people, experiences, whatnot. So this is so important when it comes to becoming the woman who gets to have it all, be it all, and do it all. Because if you are currently living a reality where you feel as though you are trapped in old patterns of the past, you recognize cycles playing out over and over again, you feel doubt, you don't feel confident, you lack worth for yourself, you lack love for yourself, you have distrust in your relationships, whatever it may be, you want to put your focus and attention into reprogramming your subconscious mind, because there is an underlying belief that is holding you in those patterns of the past. And when you can start to identify what those things are, what the current story is that you are consciously and subconsciously telling yourself about your reality, then you finally have the starting ground to start to recognize like what supports you and what doesn't, so that you can change those things that aren't supporting you. So for me personally in this journey, back in 2019, when I first found intentional manifestation and started to dive into this, I became aware of the fact that I had the story that I was a victim to my reality. I was constantly, consciously and subconsciously repeating limiting beliefs about how I was a victim, how life was never going to stack its cards in my favor, that everybody had the upper hand compared to me, that I was always having shitty things happening, X, Y, and Z. So I was manifesting shit that I didn't wanted into my life on repeat. And when I became aware of those subconscious programmings that I had and where they came from in the first place, I finally had the opportunity to start to identify like, okay, what in this is creating the life that I want for myself? And it was absolutely nothing. So I then had the opportunity to start to shift and create a new supportive story that was going to allow me to manifest the life that I wanted for myself. So I started to really dig into and dive into creating those beliefs that were going to support me and doing the work to have that consistency to rewire the structure of my subconscious mind, so that now I'm in the position that I've created all of these new neural pathways that are just the new normal beliefs of course, money is an overflowing constant in my life. Of course, I love myself. Of course, I trust myself. Of course, everything is working out in my favor. Of course, best case scenario gets to be the inevitable for my life. Because at one point, those were just thoughts that were wishful thinking to me. They weren't the neural pathways. They weren't the things that were really rooted down deep in my subconscious mind. But through time and consistency of putting work into the inner work and rewiring the structure of my subconscious mind, I've now been able to really create a belief system that is so supportive to me that just naturally attracts and manifests all of the abundance that I want into my life. So your first step is subconscious reprogramming. If you need support with this, dive into the other episodes of the No Bullshit Manifestation Show. There's going to be so much on this that can support you with it. Or get yourself on the wait list for the Abundant AF Babe Academy. Enrollment is going to be opening in February. So we have just a little over a month until I'm opening doors for enrollment for the Abundant AF Babe Academy again. And this is my signature manifestation program that is going to help you not only manifest those things into your life, but completely transform in mind, body, and soul through clearing these energetic, emotional, and mental blockages from your physical body and from your subconscious mind through so many different healing modalities and somatic work that's going to pull that energy out of your body. So that is your first step, subconscious reprogramming. Second step is creating internal safety. So if you listen to the podcast, you know that I talk about creating internal safety all the time. And this is because it's so fucking important. This is key to your manifestations, because if you do not feel safe enough on a conscious or subconscious level to receive your manifestations or sustain your manifestations, then you are going to find yourself in patterns of self-sabotage. And when you recognize that you are self-sabotaging in some sort of way, or you feel as though things aren't working out for you, you want to slow yourself down and catch yourself in this moment, because this means that there's some part of you that does not feel safe enough to receive your manifestation or to sustain your manifestation. And I did a full podcast episode on creating internal safety. It's called Cultivating Internal Safety for Manifesting More Abundance. I did it in November of 2022. So go back and listen to that podcast episode for full details on creating this internal safety. But essentially, what you are wanting to do to create internal safety is become aware of where in your life and what is creating resistance for you or what you are fearing on some sort of level, so that you can really connect to why you're fearing that thing in the first place, and then start to implement different modalities, healing aspects, again, like I mentioned in step 1, to connect to safety inside of yourself and really ground down into yourself to feel fully safe in receiving whatever it is that you desire. Which then leads us into step 3, because this goes hand in hand with creating internal safety, which is regulating your nervous system. So this is huge, and it is not talked about enough in the world of intentional manifestation, is nervous system regulation. If you want to, again, not only manifest your desires into your life, but then also be able to sustain them, you must focus on nervous system regulation. So what do I mean when I talk about nervous system regulation? So our nervous system in and of itself is what allows us to either be in a state of like rest and digest, be in a state of calm, peace, happiness inside of ourselves, or to be in survival mode. And this comes down to you having your sympathetic nervous system and your parasympathetic nervous system. There's a lot more that goes into this. I'm giving you the very broken down, stupid version of your nervous system, just to give you a overview of it. But when you are in your parasympathetic nervous system, you are in what's also called rest and digest. And this is where you feel at ease, you feel at peace, you feel calm, you feel relaxed and rested inside of your body. And this is where we function most optimally. This is where, if you can get yourself into this state, manifestation is going to become so much more effortless. Whereas when you're in your sympathetic nervous system, you are in survival mode. You are in fight, flight, or hide. And majority of people, especially in today's day and age and the society that we live in with so many distractions, so many triggers, social media, all of the things that is out there, majority of people are living constantly triggered and constantly having an activated nervous system, living in their sympathetic nervous system without even being aware of it. And because of this, what this does on an energetic level is it emits that stressed out, frantic, survival mode energy out into the universe, and by the law of attraction, attracts back in vibrational things. So that's why you're manifesting all of this wackadoo shit into your life, because you, on a base level, are constantly living with an activated nervous system. Whereas when you can, again, get into your parasympathetic nervous system and regulate your nervous system, then you are going to emit out that energy of ease, calm, peace, trust, etc. out to the universe, and by the universal law of attraction, attract back in vibrational things. So this is huge because your nervous system impacts how you feel mentally, emotionally, and physically. And next week, I'm actually going to be doing a full podcast episode on your nervous system and why it's so necessary for you to regulate your nervous system for your manifestation. So definitely, if this has piqued your interest, make sure you tune into the podcast next week so that you can also check out that podcast episode. But nervous system regulation plays a massive role in becoming the woman who gets to have it all, be it all, and do it all. And just in this podcast episode, if you don't get the opportunity to listen to next week's episode, one thing that you can do is really start to connect to your breath. If you want to regulate your nervous system, connect to your breath and learn how to slow yourself down and bring yourself back down using the power of your breath, because your breath is one of the most powerful tools to regulate your nervous system. So there you have step 3. Step 4 is strengthening your intuition and learning to follow it consistently. So your intuition is always trying to take you down the path of least resistance towards your manifestations. But again, in our society today, we have been conditioned to ignore intuition and to follow what is practical, what is logical, what is known, what is safe. Doing that is a surefire way to lead you away from your manifestations, unless you are trying to get what is logical, what is practical, what is known. But I can imagine if you're here listening to the No Bullshit Manifestation Show, that is not true for you. You want what is inspired, what is intuitive, what is beyond your wildest dreams right now. And in order for you to get to that place, you must learn to listen to and strengthen your intuition and your inspiration. And you do this through kind of following the steps from before, going through subconscious reprogramming, learning to connect to yourself, doing the inner work to create trust and intimacy with yourself, so that you know when you are receiving some sense of inspiration or intuition inside of yourself, whether that be through a gut feeling, a channeled message, hearing some sort of inspired thought, seeing some sort of sign, whatever it may be, but taking action on that thing. Because when we take action on our intuition, then we are energetically opening ourselves up to receiving more and more signs, more and more intuition, more and more pieces of the puzzle, so that we can continue on the path of least resistance to receive our manifestations. And excuse the siren happening. We live in New York City, so there's plenty of those here. But with this intuitive piece, this is like, again, key to you becoming the woman who gets to have it all, be it all, and do it all. Because if you are truly just depending on the logical, on the practical, what is known, then that limits you. That limits you so fucking much when you are depending on the logical and the practical. And that's what your subconscious mind majority of the time is going to try to get you to do, because it's what's safe. But again, creating safety inside of yourself, rewiring the structure of your subconscious mind, regulating your nervous system to know that it's okay to follow and listen to your intuition, to strengthen that intuition inside of yourself, that is going to put you in the position where you can naturally and effortlessly listen to that intuition and be led towards your manifestations with so much more speed. So that is your step 4 for this puzzle piece. And again, know that it may not make sense, but this is why most people do not manifest the life of their dreams, because they're constantly trying to make sense of it, and it's okay that it doesn't. Choose to follow it, choose to listen to it anyways. And this leads us into step 5, which is our final piece for becoming the woman who gets to have it all, be it all, and do it all, which is embodying that version of yourself already. Embodying the woman who gets to have it all, be it all, and do it all before it makes any logical or practical sense to do so. So what do I mean by this? What I mean by this is, when it comes to manifestation, you do not want to depend on the old, dusty, rusty, gross belief of when I see it, then I'll believe it. Because if you have to see it to believe it, you are going to literally just be allowing life to throw its punches at you and not actually be intentional with what it is that you are calling into your reality. Instead, you want to be in this mindset of, I'll believe it, I'll embody it, I'll feel it internally, and then because of that, I will see it. I will see it in my external reality. So showing up as that version of yourself who already has your manifestations before you physically have them in your reality. And doing that through your belief systems, doing that through your actions, your behaviors, your habits, your emotions, the way that you carry yourself, the way that you walk, the way that you talk, how you show up for life is how you embody your manifestation. So to give you an example, when I first started my intentional manifestation journey, as I've talked about on the podcast, I was working as a barista and I fucking hated that job. But I knew that I wanted a greater reality. I knew that I wanted to change paths for myself. So I chose to instead internally embody the version of myself who was already a successful online coach that was making at least $10,000 a month. And by embodying that in my day-to-day, I still had to show up to that job. I still was working paycheck to paycheck. I still was working 60 plus hours a week, but I chose to show up every single day to that job in the mindset of the fact that I was already this version of myself who was a successful online coach, and my only job being there was to make people's days. My only job in being there was to be the brightest light in the room. And so I chose to carry that energy into my day-to-day. I chose to walk the walk, talk the talk, and through embodying that version of myself, I manifested being that successful online coach within 3 months of starting my business. 3 months of starting my business, I hit my first 10K month. So know that when you internalize and embody what you get to be and who you get to be and how you get to show up for life as this version of yourself who already has your manifestations, then that is putting you into energetic alignment with you calling that into your reality and becoming the clear channel to actually receive it. Show up as that version of yourself day in and day out, and you will attract and manifest what you want into your life. And this is exactly what I teach you how to do inside of the Abundant AF Babe Academy, along with so many other things and along with a fuck ton of healing work so that you can fully step into becoming this highest version of yourself. So again, if you are wanting to become the woman who gets to have it all, be it all, and do it all, you want to get on the wait list for the Abundant AF Babe Academy that is opening in February of this year. You can find the link down below in the show notes to get more info on the website and to put yourself on the wait list. But this is truly the key to you manifesting your dream life is joining the Abundant AF Babe Academy. It is the key because you have every single step, every single bit of guidance and thing that I have done to manifest my dream life over the past 3 years, and have now guided over 200 women to as well. So if you know within yourself that it is your turn to manifest your dream life, put yourself on the wait list for ABA for when enrollment opens. There's only a limited amount of spots for this next round that is opening in February. So make sure you get on so that you are notified straight away. Waitlist always gets first notification of enrollment opening. And let's make this year the most abundant year of your life. So that is what I have for you on this podcast episode. One last quick recap. Those 5 things. First one was subconscious reprogramming. Second is creating that internal safety. Go back and listen to the podcast episode I did on this in November of 2022. Third is nervous system regulation. I'm going to be releasing another podcast episode about this next week. Fourth is strengthening your intuition and learning how to follow it consistently. And fifth is embodying that version of yourself already, that version of you who gets to have it all, be it all, and do it all. So with that, go out and do it. You got this. I am rooting for you, and I will chat with you on the next podcast episode. Oh my gosh, thank you for listening to today's episode. I am so grateful to have these no bullshit talks with you. If you enjoyed today's episode or the podcast as a whole, please spread the love by leaving me a review on iTunes or sharing the podcast with others. This is how I will be able to spread more of these good vibes and be able to make more of an impact on the lives of others. And if you're not already part of all of the goodness and communities that I have to offer, check out the show notes. I have links to the different ways that I can support you on your manifestation journey and help you live a life full of more money, fulfillment, and freedom. But that is all for now. So big love and hugs, and I will chat with you soon, babe.